Hey, it's Tracy with Tokelahoma, and I'm here to talk about Chronic Palooza. We were there Saturday and Sunday. Exhibit was there, Baby Bash was there, local celebrities were there. Also, Uncle Grumpy just stopped in, so we're going to talk to him later. I'm super excited about that. Also, next week we're going to have Kevin Hobby in. He is the newly elected Oklahoma Libertarian State Chair. So we're going to go over some stuff with him next week. I just want to see where he's headed with the Oklahoma Libertarian Party. And then later on in the show, we are going to talk about why 22 April is important in my life now. So 22 April, someone in the military who was left off mainstream media was missing at Fort Hood. And it took a group of veterans activism to get her name out there. And, it really didn't even hit anything until her body was found. So we're going to talk more about that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I think they're busy putting all that furniture into these over here too. Let's go.
Hey Tokelahoma, this is Tracy, and we are going to talk about Chronic Palooza 3. We went Saturday and Sunday. Honestly, the weather was gorgeous. Definitely hoodie weather, but it was a great 420 weekend in Oklahoma. We saw Carrie Chronic. Thank you for my lanyard and my shirt and letting us walk around and do a live stream there. We went over by the Chronic Cutie stand, and I did a live with Princess and Cajun Libertarian, and I couldn't really hear them, but they could hear me, and so that was cool because it was like I was on the scene, live. And we had people walking in the back of us. We had some cops walking through, which I thought was hilarious. And just a bunch of people that came out. And, when we rolled up, I was so impressed. So I'm from Detroit, all right? So when I heard of this Chronic Palooza, I thought it was going to be like a small event. I thought it was going to be way smaller than what it was. So ladies, I am impressed. Chastity, thank you so much for having me come out and be a part of it, and just getting me on the grinder live and just being supportive. I am so pro woman, and you guys are all so great. So thank you. And also, it was the Jack Herrera Cup. And so I looked him up, and he was actually a cannabis activist and the emperor of hemp. So, activism is so important because the government overreach just seems to be getting more and more every day. So please, please, please pay attention to local politics, okay? Because local politics affect your everyday life, all right? What's going on in the back and forth nationwide is rough. So turn it off and turn into the local stuff. Go to the pages, watch the lives, read the bills, get involved. And so that's how I met Carrie Chronic, Chastity, Vivian, and Larry. I met them at a protest of being involved, and now I get to enjoy not only being an activist and an educator, but I get to enjoy people who are supportive of the liberty lifestyle. And I had such a good time. I ran into Larry, like I said, and we took a picture, and I really like those purple pants, Larry. Those were cute. So there were also concerts. Okay, we didn't make it to the concerts. It was a long day. Exhibit was out there. Baby Bash was out there. Okay, so if you don't know who those are kind of old school rappers. I'm kind of older, so that brought a lot of people out. It was busy. There were sesh pods, and if you didn't see the sesh pods or you don't know what a sesh pods is, it was like a soccer mom's kind of big tent. They had tables in there. People were smoking in there. The weeds was getting rolled in there, and it was right there, like in VIP, right in front of the stages. And so people were performing raps, like local rappers, local artists, just everything local. Again, get involved locally, stay involved locally, be part of your community, go there, get involved. And we also ran into midget wrestling. All right, so if you haven't seen midget wrestling before, you're in for a treat, okay? Because they talked crap about each other, talked crap to the audience. It was such a good time. Again, just about hoodie weather. We walked around the whole area, which was in Crossroads Mall, and I ran into Old School in DC, and thank you for coming on my show. And I really appreciate you guys because they've kind of been showing me the way. I feel like I see them once a week almost, and they've kind of been being like, hey, hey, do you want to go to this? Or hey, do you want to be a part of this? Or hey, this is what's going on. Or hey, this bill's happening. And so, I really appreciate you guys. Also, chronic docs. Okay, so Vivian, I ran into her. She actually gave me this at the protest too. So again, we're all involved. We're all engaged. And I appreciate all of you. And when we walked into the event, she was running the whole Chronic Docs clinic. I had no idea. I was so impressed. I took a picture, I put it on the page because she's running stuff. And she's young. I don't know how old she is, but she is a young businesswoman. And when you run your own business or when you do things not in, the tunnel vision way, you can already do things at a young age. And I just really appreciate that because we need to see more of that because the old way, the old-fashioned way isn't working anymore. So the more young professionals we see, the better for me. And we had so many brands out there. All right, so there were booths inside and outside, but a booth that caught me by surprise was Danklin Delights. It had this huge cutting board with cookies, Oreos, like little nerd rope looking things, edibles. And it was just such a beautiful presentation. And so I just wanted to say I appreciate you. I hope that you have me come out and look at where you bake things, because that would be awesome, because I not only love to bake, but I also like cannabis. So also, I ran into Dover Brothers Inc., and they had punch edibles. And I actually had a cookies and cream one probably a couple months ago, and it was great. So, great presentation, great product. It was almost like a candy bar, the Hershey's M&M cookie cream bar, but it was weed. So, to have that little, and it was like in a plastic container, it was just really good quality. So, I really appreciate you. Also, ran into Soul Center Shop. This is such a cute little business card. You know, they had really good energy. They were young girls with cute clothes. So not only was it cannabis, but I felt like they might have had a little boutique there too. And so I wanted to see what they had going on in there. So also, we walked around a couple times, and a booth that caught us by surprise was handing out dime bags of seeds. And that's Mount Zion Seeds. And the guy had a beard. Like, it was so long. It was so cool. They had a good vibe going, tie-dye. I think they had a cash register even, where they could take money. I don't know. There's just so much going on there, and it was so cool. And Chronic Palooza. I cannot wait for Chronic Palooza 4. So if you didn't go this year, you missed a good time. You missed a great effort by the team, because it was amazing. I didn't see anything, that doesn't happen. Things happen at events. Small things happened. I worked protocol for the military for years, doing events that we do weekly or even monthly, and things happen at everything. So a yearly event that has some hiccups with parking, it's not a big deal. We'll do better next year. And so I can't wait for Chronic Palooza 4. And, Uncle Grumpy's about to come in. So I'll see you in the next segment.
In the summer of 2018, despite a fierce and well-financed opposition, the state of Oklahoma passed State Question 788, giving the citizens the most open medical marijuana system in the U.S.
Young people of Oklahoma spoke last night, and they said they wanted medical marijuana.
Critics tried to frame 788 as being too loosely written, pointing to the bill's lack of qualifying conditions. Proponents countered that the bill would allow maximum access to the widest range of patients. State Question 788 passed by more than 13 points. My friends call me Grumpy. I'm a citizen lobbyist on the front lines of the cannabis revolution in the great state of Oklahoma. I represent not only the 507,000 individuals that voted for medical cannabis, but my fellow citizens who need this medicine. Join us as we travel the state to meet with politicians, activists, business owners, but most importantly, patience.
Hey, this is Tracy with Tokelahoma, and Uncle Grumpy just stopped by, also known as Chris Moe. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
I'm an activist and a lobbyist. I hang out at the Capitol a lot.
Awesome.
I mostly everything that I push has to do with expanding access and helping people get the medicine they need. It's not so much about the businesses as it is about the people.
Right, and I agree with that. And you know, I like to talk about the Constitution a lot, and I like to talk about we the people, and I like to talk about how we the people voted on 788, right?
Yes, we did. Yes, we not only voted on it, the people wrote it. I like to tell people that keep looking to the Capitol for all the answers to fix whatever they think might be wrong with the medical marijuana program. Why would you think that the Capitol is going to fix those problems? It goes back to, as you said, people call me Uncle Grumpy. I just tell them, just call me Grumpy. And what Grumpy stands for is Government Refusal United Many People to Say Yes. What I mean by that is since 2004, people have been trying to push medical marijuana legislation through the Capitol. And the government has refused at every turn to even consider those bills. So the people had to unite, and the people had to write the bill, and the people had to pass the bill. Now we've turned it over to these same lawmakers that didn't want it, that we had to get grumpy and run over. We've now turned it over to them to write the rules and regulations, and we're shocked and surprised that they would do things that would make this more difficult. I don't know why we would. They didn't want it to begin with. They certainly don't want it now. And I can assure you, the attitude up at the Capitol is that they are tired of hearing about it. So if they could find a way to make it go away, they would. So I say again, stop looking to them to solve the problems. Right. I believe we're going to get this thing straight when we get this thing straight. In other words, when we put together a petition as people again, and when we as people get the votes and we as people pass it. Mm-hmm. And this time it'll have to be a constitutional amendment, and this time we can't leave so much to chance. Granted, you don't write rules and regulations in a constitutional amendment, but you can certainly tie their hands enough to keep them from over-regulating as they are doing right now.
Right. No, and I agree. And I'm not at the Capitol often, but I was just at the Capitol, and I was there for a totally different event, OK2A, and they were pushing the 10th Amendment heavy, right? Because Republicans like to do that for the Second Amendment. So I just want to talk about the 10th Amendment, and I want to talk about to the cannabis community about the 10th Amendment, because I want to educate you, because that's what I'm good at, okay? All right, so this is the Constitution, 10th Amendment. I'm going to read it to you. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people, okay? So we, the people, voted on 788. We didn't even need to do that, right? So they've taught us that cannabis is illegal, right? No. Now they're teaching us that we need to go pay a fine and fee to the state just to go get medicine, just to make money. That's all they're really doing, right? And so it's like everybody wants a part of it now, and even though the people who were fighting just to get freedom for it are saying, this is a great thing, why don't we just take the medical part of it off and just open it, because we're such a freedom and liberty state. It's like all these people all want the same thing, yet the people at the Capitol are all making us miserable in different ways.
Well, I think part of the problem, we've done it to ourselves.
Yes.
We couldn't have passed 788 any other way than the way it was, obviously.
Yes.
It doesn't do a lot of good in second guessing ourselves. But let's don't pretend that everything was perfect. It was a fairly poorly written amendment or initiative, and it's caused enormous problems.
Yes.
Because of the way it was written. So we're lucky we got it in that way, but now that it's there, we have to acknowledge that. And what we've ended up with in this state, and people don't like to hear this, but we've ended up with a recreational program and no medical program. What I mean by that is if you're a perfectly healthy 18-year-old with $125, you can get online and get a doctor recommendation have your card show up within 14 to 30 days, and you'll have a card that allows you access to buy all the cannabis you're going to need or want. I mean, there's some limits, but it's pretty high, so you're going to get all that you want. But if you're a 50-year-old with a disease or an illness or an injury that causes you to see a pain management doctor, well, then you're denied access. So what we call it is disqualifying conditions. Again, the way 788 was written, we're lucky we got it in the way we did. It has caused some problems. These disqualifying conditions mean we have about 50,000 pain management patients who can't access the program that we all call medicine, that we all call a medical program. Again, we have a recreational program and no medical program. I've even seen people comment to say, well, we have the lowest taxes in the country. We have a great program, best program in the country. Well, we have low taxes, not the lowest, but low if you compare it to a recreational program. If you compare it to a medical program, we have the highest taxes. So again, we are looking at this wrong. We're mixing everything up because we've insisted that it all be called medicine. That's where we've gotten ourselves into trouble. I got to ask this: is Oklahoma the sickest state in the union? Are we? Is there something in the water? Is it in the soil? And I only ask
the red dirt.
I ask because we have almost 400,000 patients, and some people don't want to move forward with full access because they think it's all medical. Well, then, my gosh, we have a lot of sick people.
Right.
Or could it be that, as with any state that has a medical program, there's going to be some recreational use, but in our program, because the way it was written, that has overwhelmed the system. So the majority of use is what we would consider recreational. So we're in a catch-22, and we've done it to ourselves.
Okay. But at the same time, a lot of people that are against it, they recreationally use alcohol.
I believe me, I fully understand the hypocrisy, and I understand the hypocrisy of people who don't like cannabis,
right,
that use other things to relax or whatever, and as loosely as we're using the word medical in the medical marijuana program, you might as well say that alcohol is medical, because if it makes you feel better after work, isn't that medicine?
Right.
That's how.
But who cares what the government says, right? It's your choice, it's my choice, it's her choice, it's his choice. That's how I look at it.
Right, but if we're going to run this as a medical program, then we have to adhere to some medical rules, medical thinking in some way. We have to get the doctors to the table. We can't have all these pain management doctors that refuse to participate in the program. Or did we pass a medical program?
No, I agree.
These are the people that we pushed in front of we pushed their wheelchairs in front of the lawmakers, and we told them, this is who this program is for. We're doing this for the people who can't do it for themselves. And then what do? We roll out and we have this huge party, and we do nothing but party. Let's acknowledge that. Let's be real about that. You shouldn't be ashamed of that.
I'm not.
And people who choose to use it that way shouldn't be ashamed to the point to where they're hiding under this word medical.
Right.
They should be pushing for full access. Everybody over the age of 21 should be able to go and purchase this.
Right.
Just like alcohol, as you mentioned yourself.
Right. I feel like it's a easy step. It's a real step. It's a liberty mindset step. And I just don't know what, besides money, is such the push against it.
Well, I can tell you that all the people I've talked to up at the Capitol, one thing I can get them to agree on is that if we bring in full access, they're willing to drop the excise tax on the card, which means that people with real medical conditions that go through the trouble of seeing a doctor and get the card will not be paying the highest medical taxes in the country. They won't be paying anything but, say, the standard sales tax, okay? Aspirin tax.
Right.
That's what I like to say, aspirin tax.
Bueno, CVS, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we can live with that for now. Look, the reason why we have to have some taxes, some people get lost in this. They think there shouldn't be any taxes at all. But even if we were to bring in full access,
I'm one of those people.
well, even if we were to bring in full access tomorrow, not every store would go to full access. And if they were recreational, if they stayed medical, then that particular store would have no tax revenue to contribute to the city to cover police and fire that monitor that very facility.
Right.
So, you kind of need to pay for your services.
You can't forget your roads either.
Yeah,
All right.
well,
You can't take it.
exactly.
We're going to take a break.
Hempire Genetics is a advanced research program set forth under the 2018 Oklahoma Industrial Hemp Pilot Program, overseen by Northwestern Oklahoma State University. A lot of farmers reach out to us. They've heard about what we're doing and are interested and want to know what they've had growing on their land since they were kids. Oklahoma is very diverse in its weather system, and so these plants have adapted over the last several hundred years to withstand that. A lot of it was brought here by the U.S. Department of the Interior back as part of Hemp for Victory. Hemp for Victory was brought about with the loom of the coming World War. We knew that we were going to have to produce a very large amount of hemp to rig the ships for their sailing, for their ropes, for their anchors, also clothing, sailors' hats, our flags, everything was made from hemp. Marijuana wasn't made illegal until 1969. The USCSA classed marijuana in with other dangerous narcotics such as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines. The campaign to slander cannabis began back in the 20s, mainly with William Randolph Hearst and the paper mills. Then that transgressed into big oil. Later in the 30s and 40s, really gained steam. By late 1937, the Congress passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which grouped industrial hemp in with marijuana. After that, they gave the differentiated names, hemp, marijuana. While farmers were still allowed to grow, taxes were raised so heavily that it made it difficult, especially for lower income farmers. In 1940, when Hemp for Victory came to Oklahoma, they actually used Oklahoma as a test plot. Several genetics were shipped in from all around the world to see what would grow best on American soil, since Oklahoma has such a diverse climate. And it's very hard to find a lot of documentation on that. We know there was a lot of places, obviously, that were involved, or we wouldn't be finding cannabis in every county in Oklahoma. Hempire Genetics, sowing the seeds of the past to grow a better future for everyone. Visit us at HempireGenetics.com or on our social media pages at Hempire Genetics.
Hey guys, so this is the last topic that I want to talk about today. In order for me to keep myself from being super emotional about this topic, I'm going to go over some statistics because I feel like it doesn't get enough time in the news. It doesn't get enough effort from anyone, but we're hurting because veteran lives matter. Okay, so this is military sexual assaults, not harassment, but assaults. From 2016 to 2018, assaults rose 38%. 90% of those assaults were from another active duty member. So someone you're supposed to have their six, right? They're sexually assaulting you. Males on males, females on females, males on females, females on males. This is everyday things. So from the veteran side, that gets reported, 1 in 4 females report military sexual assault, and 1 in 100 males report it. So of all the sexual assaults that are reported to the VA, 40% of them are males, okay? So when we think about this, when I sit here, when I say females are doing this isn't just a female thing. This is an all of us thing. 40% of us are males. This is happening way too often. It's not getting the just guidance and respect and the regulations it needs. All we want to do is to be able to report to a police officer and not our command. Men are coming to me every day, and women telling me about their stories, and I am just listening because I want to listen. I want to be here for them, and I'm trying to use my voice. I've been trying to use my voice. So, more statistics because I'm not as emotional as statistics. PTSD from the VA, 65% of males have it, and 49% of females have it. Which the biggest diagnosis from the VA with PTSD for everyone is military sexual trauma. So it's not the deployment, right? Because most guys that you meet, they don't even I don't even have PTSD. It's, it's not a big deal, whatever. So they're not even going to report it. They don't even have it. So the people who already have it reported, it's not even the wartime guys. These are guys who have been military sexual trauma. Also, I wanted to highlight the things that come with it. The 4 big things that come with military sexual trauma, okay? It might help you understand some things. Difficulty with relationships, okay? This is huge, okay? They don't know how to have a relationship, even sometimes on a social level. Again, the next one is the social functions. These people don't even want to go out sometimes because they're scared to go out. And then that comes into play with the VA pushing all these drugs, right? But with cannabis, they're happier. They're okay. They're processing their trauma. They're living a healthier lifestyle. They're eating better. They're working out. They're happier. Active duty doesn't have that option, right? Veterans don't even have that option because of the federal hold on most of it. Most veterans are scared to use cannabis. So all these people that I'm talking about, most of them are on the 6-pill combo. Lexapro, Klonopin, Flexeril, Trazodone, Compazine, Motrin, okay? 6 pills. A lot of these people are on different kind of combos, okay? Physical health issues. So a lot of people talk about their back and their ankle and their knees. Okay, when you have a mental disorder, such as PTSD, all those physical ailments come with that. And then the last one, and certainly not least, is substance abuse, okay? The amount of alcohol, I'm just going to talk about alcohol because I feel like I'm most familiar with that. The amount of alcohol that is consumed by active duty members and veterans it's a lot, because they don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to get on the meds. If they had that option to use even CBD, they probably would, but they don't. So they use that alternate route, that optional thing, that thing that they don't have to report to the state. They don't have to report to the doctor, that they can pick up at the local gas station. And so when it's an easy thing, when you already have a mental health issue and then you're using a substance and you're misusing it, you're not getting any better. And, these topics are the things that people don't want to talk about. And this is really hard for me to talk about. You notice to my side, I have black combat boots. So today is 22 April. Today is 1 year ago when Vanessa Guillen went missing. And, we are highlighting that we still honor you. We still think about you. We still care about you. And female veterans all over the world are thinking about you today. We think about you every day. And Vanessa Guillen was 22 years old when she went missing at Fort Hood. They just put a gate up to honor her. A gate. Just a gate. And underneath it says, this is a great place. And do you know how upset we are over that? They're literally doing a political stunt over her death and saying it's a great place. It's not a great place. Females in the Army, do you think they want to go there? Do you think they want to get stationed there? Do you think they try to get out of there? And men, because it's not only females, it's men too. Honoring Vanessa is important to me because I feel like we're finally getting people to notice what is going on, because this isn't new. This isn't just happening now. This has been happening, guys. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you join me next week. I'll have Kevin Hobby on, and we might talk more about military sexual trauma, because he actually went out with a walk with the Libertarian Party last weekend, and having my party be involved with something like that made me feel welcome, made me feel like they're listening. So thank you. Tokelahoma. Have a good day.